Adam Schefter just posted a Cardinals article from ESPN that has a Cardinals mock trade in it. You're not going to want to miss out on this. Cardinals have been in a lot of trade talks all offseason long, so we're going to take a look at this one for you guys on today's show. And I do want to encourage everybody to hit that subscribe button because it is free, and I will have Cardinals news, rumors, and analysis for you on the channel as often as we can. There's a lot of big dates coming up for Arizona. I mean, trades are going to start going down. Free agency's just around the corner. The draft, where they have a top 3 pick, I want to make sure you guys get all the best Cardinals content you can here for free on YouTube, rumors, news, and I like to make this an interactive show. I like to hear from you guys in the comments section. You'll notice I ask questions throughout the show that I want you guys to comment your answers on so we can bring together a community of Arizona Cardinals fans. We're at 1,421 subscribers. If we can make some more, we can make more videos for you guys, so I would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button here before we continue on with today's show. And the trade rumor, the mock trade, is going to feature Kyler Murray. ESPN doubles down on the fact that the Cardinals do want to trade him, and they have mocked up a location for Kyler. And it actually seems like the New York Jets are going to be the most likely trade destination. So ESPN in the article said this about the Jets. Basically, Aaron Glenn turned over nearly his entire staff after a disappointing first year when the Jets were abysmal on both sides of the football. And for most of the first half of the season, Glenn couldn't decide whether to bench Justin Fields when Fields went down with an injury, and then Tyrod Taylor and Brady Cook weren't much better. Glenn could be coaching for his job here in year 2, and though he will trust his ability to turn around the defense, finding a veteran quarterback who can win a few games is critical. And you start to think of different destinations for Kyler Murray. The Vikings would be a suitor, and he could perhaps be good there, but they are in a bad cap situation. They would need to make a lot of moves if they bring in Kyler Murray. The Browns, they can't afford to pay Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray at the same time next year. The Browns are not in this mix. The Raiders are going to draft the quarterback first overall, most likely Fernando Mendoza. Maybe you make a blockbuster where you move up for that pick, but you'd have to give up a heck of a haul right now to get it. The Dolphins also a team that could potentially go for Kyler. They are expected to move on from Tua, and they just cleared up a whole bunch of cap space. They released Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, a couple of guys that created millions for them. Now, it would be kind of ironic if they meant from Tua to Kyler, both those quarterbacks in similar situations right now. And so you start to think about it, and you think, well, maybe the Jets are really the suitor here for Kyler Murray this offseason. And Arizona wants to do this. It is in their best interest. This is what all the reports are telling us here. A little bit more on the situation from ESPN. Basically, the Cardinals would save $34 million on their 2026 cap and $78 million or so in cash over the next 2 years if they trade Kyler Murray before June 1st. And it's never fun to see the face of the franchise dealt for a day 3 pick, but I would suspect the new staff was interviewed and hired with the understanding that Murray wouldn't be staying in Arizona for much longer. So a Murray trade might be about landing the best available deal instead of waiting for the right one. When you hear that, it starts to sound like the Cardinals are becoming more desperate. They have made it clear they want to move on from Murray. It benefits their future and their money, their financial situation more than anything. Remember, this needs to be done in the next few weeks, essentially, if Arizona's going to do it, because Murray is due a guaranteed roster bonus on March 16th. They're going to start having to pay him if he's still on this roster in a month's time. And so there's 4 weeks for Arizona to make the move and try to find a suitor. Other issue, he'll make $78 million in 2026 and 2027 combined. Can you find a team that wants to pay Murray that much and take him on? And so it's getting harder and harder to trade Kyler Murray. This is bad for his trade value and the position Arizona's in when you consider they want to move on. It's good for their finances, and the new team has to take on a mega deal. This has to be a team that's like the Vikings, that is maybe a quarterback away. The Jets aren't a quarterback away. They need Kyler to be good for a few years here if they are going to trade for him. But since they're the most likely destination, according to today's show and ESPN's article, the mock trade looks something like this. According to Bill Barnwell, the Jets would receive Kyler Murray and a 6th-round pick, and the Cardinals would get a 4th this year. I think when you factor in everything, a 4th isn't bad for Kyler. Having to give up a 6th as well maybe makes it look a little bit worse. But you tell me, would you accept this trade? Type A for accept in the comment section. Type D for decline. Like I said, I want to make this an interactive show where all Cardinals fans have a voice. So let me know your opinion in the comment section. It doesn't look like you're getting a lot for a guy that you drafted first overall, but this is the scenario that you're in right now with Kyler Murray. Mike LaFleur talked about the situation as well, saying that just like everything else on the roster, open talks are in the building, but there is no time frame on Kyler Murray right now. But we kind of suspect there is a time frame because of that roster guarantee that is coming up. That is just a simple coach answer I think you give. Yeah, we're talking about everybody. We don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to have to happen sooner rather than later. And to the point of that ESPN article I showed you, the Cardinals almost have to settle for whoever will take him before June 1st. It's just not great when you think about business and negotiations, the position the Cardinals are in right now. But they would free up so much money in cap here, and it's about their future. More news about LaFleur in his press conference. He basically said he's super excited about his staff, that a lot of people are clowning him about Nathaniel Hackett and keeping Nick Rallis. Well, he's super excited about both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator. We'll start with Nick Rallis, who specifically they are retaining this year in Arizona. And LaFleur said, we had very honest and open dialogue, and I liked what I heard. This guy, he's a stud, and his best days are totally in front of him, and I know it's just a great fit for us. The ability to retain him and grow and learn with him as we build this thing the right way. Pretty pumped. So I was not really happy about the Rallis being retained. Cardinals defense was awful last year. He was Gannon's DC. I didn't get it, but LaFleur, hey, man, you're excited about it. He thinks he's found a stud, so go for it. They also said Hackett was his guy, that he really wanted Nate Hackett in Arizona at offensive coordinator, that he loved him. He was always his guy. Nobody else wanted these guys. It was just Mike LaFleur and the Cardinals, I guess. But, of course, you're going to say that at the press conference. And like I've told you guys in the past, I don't hate the Hackett hire because he doesn't have success when he's in charge, but he's not in charge. He is not calling plays. Mike LaFleur is in here to revamp the offense, and Hackett's just a guy that's been in different systems, had experience, and Aaron Rodgers loves him for some reason. So I'm glad LaFleur's excited. I'm not really excited about it so far, but I digress. That is what your head coach is saying right now. Another piece of news before we wrap up here, Ian Rappaport makes it official that the Cardinals hire former University of Texas defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski as their new defensive line coach. He's a decorated college coach heading to the NFL. He's a very experienced college coach. Finally, a hire, an addition to the coaching staff that I am excited about, and I think the media should treat with some grace for the Arizona Cardinals. His first DC job in college came way back in 2000. He's very respected. He moved up the coaching ranks. He's been in college forever, and then most recently was working under Coach Sark at Texas from 2021 to 2025, most recently, of course. So the fact that he's moving up just to coach the defensive line here for the Cardinals, I think that actually is a good move, and he's a well-respected guy, especially in Texas, learning under Coach Sarkisian. So, all that said about Arizona, how are we feeling now going into next season? Are you feeling good about the upcoming Cardinals season? Type O if you are optimistic. Type P if you are pessimistic. And I know I do read the comments. I see that there are pessimistic Cardinals fans in there, and I don't blame you. When your team is just constantly making moves that the fan base doesn't agree with and the owner doesn't spend and he's cheap, absolutely reason to be pessimistic. I like to try to be an optimistic guy, though, and I am optimistic about Mike LaFleur and what he can do for this Cardinals offense, but I won't get my hopes up too much, and I would like to know where your emotions are at right now. And as I said, please hit that subscribe button here. I've been your host, Joey O'Donohue. Super excited to talk about Cardinals football, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow, so don't miss out. It is free to subscribe. I appreciate you all, and we will see you next time here on Cardinals Today by Chat Sports.